So, hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Cognizant has changed their pattern quite a lot. Now, this is one of the case study questions, that we are going to cover, right? So, obviously, you need to be prepared of these case study questions because SQL or DBMS basically will be asked in the coding part of it also, and also in the MCQ part of it. So it doesn't matter if you're from CS or IT or any other branch, Cognizant really wants you to know SQL, right? So basically, if you go ahead to Prep and Star, right? So we already have this SQL course already on our Prep and Star Prime. So for example, DBMS and SQL, as you can check here. So we'll be recommending this course, and obviously you will get all the previous year papers of HackerRank on our website. There's a specific course that we've also created for Cognizant as well. So you can go ahead and check the syllabus of this as well. So let me just go ahead because there are so many companies, right? So at the very end here, if you really want, you can check the syllabus of this as well. So let's just go ahead and check the syllabus. So you'll be able to understand what all things we'll be covering in our Cognizant thing as well. So let's go ahead and we'll cover this a little later. So let's just go back to our this thing, and we'll put all the links of all of these in the description of the video, right? So let's go ahead. Now obviously, first of all, Cisco, Amazon, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley are currently hiring. So I forgot to mention Morgan Stanley, so make sure that you follow us on all of our social media handles: WhatsApp, Instagram and Discord. Make sure that you follow us on at least these three, and not just one of these three, all of these three, because sometimes we don't post it on Instagrams and only on WhatsApp, and sometimes we don't post it on WhatsApp or Instagram and only on Discord. Why? Because we are having daily 7 to 8 hours of free live classes for everybody. So make sure that you follow us on Discord as well. We have an amazing community on Discord. Also, as always, the top 3 comments are going to get a Prime Video subscription absolutely free. So make sure that you go ahead and check out our Prime subscription as well, and then comment really nice, something, that good experience that you had with Prep and Star, or it could be a very good doubt, something I've covered incorrectly for solving the future questions that I'm going to solve. It could be anything ideally, right? So let's go ahead. Now obviously I'll be solving like 3-4 questions here, but before that I just want to take a little time to explain you how Cognizant and why Cognizant is having all of these. So obviously the section 2 is coding challenge. In the coding challenge you have 140 minutes, 5 to 6 question and case study type of question. So obviously here this would be of 20 marks. First easy question, we've mentioned Prep and Start top 100 section on our website should be good enough. The next one would be 30 marks. Medium question would be a little more difficulty. Then again, difficult competitive programming question. I see a lot of YouTube channels or selling courses for Cognizant, and they don't have competitive programming. That's a little stupid. We, in our Prime subscription, in our Cognizant course, we have competitive programming as well. So make sure that you are following that as well. Now this would be again for 50 marks. This would be again for 50 marks, and these two would be for 25 marks and 25 marks. And so basically all of this combined, I guess, would make 200 marks. So your coding part is 200 marks. However, your MCQ part is just 25 marks, right? So obviously you need to do really well in the coding part if at all you want to get selected in Cognizant, right? So moving ahead, we are covering the last 2 things here, that is Cognizant case study and Cognizant case study, kind of pattern type of questions that you can expect. In fact, these questions I've taken from HackerRank free version of what they give, so that you could understand what kind of questions you can expect. Also, one question I'll also take up as an MCQ question, just to show you what kind of MCQ question can also be asked from SQL, because in the section 1 here you have MCQ question from SQL and DBMS as well. So let's go ahead and try to understand the pattern and the type of questions, right? So you can pause the video, but because we are solving these questions, so I'll just go ahead and read the question for you. So what basically they are saying here: a retail company maintains a database of its customer. The customer is stable. Write a query to print. Okay, print what? Print ID. Okay, and I want to print the name as well, sorted by the customer name. So basically I need to sort it by this in descending order. So descending order. if two or more customers have the same name, then these must be sorted in ascending order, right? So basically, the second priority of this would be in ascending order. So kind of looks like a complicated query, but to be honest, it's not, right? They've also given an input format. They've also given an output format. You can go ahead and read this if you like. Customer ID, customer name is what should be printed, and obviously, the results here. They've also given, so for example, a sample database. So this is not the sample output. How the sample database looks like, they've also given the sample output. So let's say if you apply the queries that we are going to write here, what would be particularly be printed as a sample output, right? And then finally in the question you would have something like this, wherein you're supposed to write an SQL query in the box. So it's not like A, B, C, D. You have to write the whole SQL query, right? So let's go ahead and try to understand from what I've understood particularly. So basically, any particular SQL query starts with, and I hope that you already know SQL. If you do not know SQL, just go ahead to Prep Insta Prime. We already have everything that you need to prepare, that you need to have for your placement preparation. Courses for all the different things that are there. So C, C++, Java, artificial intelligence. So it's basically like Netflix. You don't buy one movie from Netflix, you buy the whole subscription. You'll get access to all the 150 plus courses: SQL, DBMS, OS, CN, C, C++, Java, Python, machine learning, artificial intelligence, TCS NQT, Wipro, Cognizant, Amazon, interview preparation courses, basically anything and everything that you need. We've also partnered with TCS for the same as well. So let's go ahead and write the same thing. So obviously any particular SQL, okay, just give me a second, right? So any particular SQL query that we have starts from select, right? So either it's like select star and then we have from table, right? And for example, table name, correct? So let's go back to the question and try to understand what they were asking you to print. Let's see, right? So basically any SQL query begins with select. So I would obviously have select, and then what they are saying is I should be selecting ID first. So I'll write ID, and then I should be selecting name second. So I'll write name. I need to also specify that from which table. So from, let's say the name of the table is customers. I guess it's customers only, right? Yeah. Oh, so not customer, it's customer. It's very important, because which is why they've given this. And maybe sometimes here they say ID and here they say something else. You need to also make sure that take care of all the input formats that they are giving. Now first part of this is easy and it's done. Let's look at the second part. So basically they are saying sorted by customer name in descending order. To be honest, people who are very proficient with coding or SQL will simply able to write it. There's no issue. However, there's third part that is very difficult. Okay. And when I'll write the answer for the second part, most of you would be like, it's very obvious. It's basically saying English, but it's not like that, right? So I'll just simply use a word called as order by. So order by what? Order by customer name. So customer name here is name. So order by name. But they are specifically mentioning here that these guys or this should be printed in descending order. So I'll just go ahead and say descending order. So I'll say DESC. But the problem is not yet over. To be honest, the last line is even worst. It's very confusing, and 90% of the people, your 4 test cases would be passing, but your 2 would not be passing because of this line. Now they're saying if 2 or more customers have the same name or have the same customer name, then these must be sorted in ascending order. Now it's very confusing. If they have the same name, what should be sorted in ascending order? Because if they have the same name, there is no descending. So let's say Atulya, there are 2 people with the name Atulya Kaushik. And then you are saying, okay, these 2 people have the same name. So descending, ascending, both of them are same. Okay, so there's this hidden information here. Basically, they don't say or they don't mention ID. They mean ID. They've not mentioned it in the question, but it's hidden. So I'll write here again, comma, and I'll write ID. I can either just simply end my SQL query here, or I can just simply write ASC and then end my SQL query here. Now, to be honest, this was the most easy question that I could find. Obviously, if you're able to understand this, because I wanted to take this question for the people who are from non-CSIT background, so they are not demotivated. But to be honest, this is the kind of questions that I don't think that you will be expecting. The level of difficulty would be much, much higher, right? So no issues. This is the answer for this particular question. Let's have a look upon the output as well, very, very quickly, right? So if you look at the output, so as you can see, the names and everything are printed, as you can see, descending order. So obviously R, then P, then J, and then so on and so forth, and A. Now obviously nobody has the same name here. So even the part that they were saying, they've not even shown that in the output test case. That's hidden. That's something that you need to figure out with your own experience of working with SQL. So no issues. Let's move ahead to the next question. Okay. So let's read this. I hope that you pause the video and I hope that you try to solve it on your own, because once I solve it, you'll be like, it's very easy. To be honest, SQL is always like this. Once somebody solves this, it looks like an English question. But when you try to solve it, it's like very difficult. Okay. So let's see. Information about customers is stored in customers table. Write a query to print ID, first name and last name of the customers whose combined name length is first name and last name. And then these are like two separate tables. So Fn, there are values here, and then Ln, there are values here. So these are two separate columns of the table. So basically their combined length should be less than 12. Right? Now the IDs and the name should be printed in ascending order of the combined name length. If two or more customers have the same combined name length, then sort the result in lexicographical order of the full names, first name, last name, without a space in between, ignoring the case. If two or more customers have the same full name, sort these results by ID ascending. To be honest, by now this question has become so complicated that I was just reading lines. I was not solving it. Now, to be honest, how do you go about in solving this question? Now, first of all, ideally, I've looked at the question already once, right? But in your case, you should be reading all of this first. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let me clear off this line. Now, let's have a look upon these things, the output format. Again, you can go ahead and read the output format as well. You can pause the video here, and then they've also explained why all of these are printed. So basically, let's see. Joe Garza. So Joe Garza is Joe, that is 3, and Garza is 5. So Garza is 5, the length of it, and combined 5 plus 3 is equals to 8 is less than 12. So which is why we will print Joe Garza. Anne Harris less than 12. Ruth Hansen less than 12. Paula Fuller less than 12. There are a few ones which are not less than 12. So let's have a look upon all of those. Not sure if you'll be able to read that. Let's say Carolyn Bradley. So Carolyn Bradley. Obviously, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we'll not print it. So the first objective of what I am able to understand, and this is very difficult question. I want you to read everything. I want you to pause the YouTube video and look at why all of these are basically being printed. Right? So let's solve this one by one with just one thing at once. Okay. Now the first thing that they are saying here is that, okay, the combined length. Okay, so let's have a look upon. So for example, the first thing that I'll be doing here is I'll be like, okay, basically I need to select what? I need to select ID, first name and last name. So I'll just basically be selecting ID, comma, I'll just write FN, but basically you need to write first name here. Okay, then LN. So this is the first step here. Now from where? From which table? The name of the table is customer. So from customer, and also this is not case sensitive, so you can write it any ways that you like. Okay. So next thing is, I need to first of all just decide upon the names or the values that I need to print, wherein the combined length of first name and last name is less than 12. So I'll just focus upon this as of now, and then I'll focus upon everything else little later. So I'll just say where LENGH length. Okay, write it in capital. Ideally you should be, my fault, I should have written this in capital. Okay, so wherein length of FN, first name, you will write it completely, plus LENGTH, length of LN is less than 12. So basically what I'll get from here, I've not done anything. I'll get all the names, or I'll get IDs, first name, last name of all the people whose first name and last name, their length is less than 12. Now I need to look at the second part of it. Now, right? The IDs and names should be printed in ascending order of the combined name length. Okay. Now, a lot of you may think, okay, let's read this because this is really confusing. The IDs and names should be printed in ascending order of the combined name length. Now, if you don't read it properly, what you will think is, basically you need to print them in ascending order. Let's say somebody whose name is A will come first, and somebody whose name is Z will come last. Okay, actually it's not like that. Name length, they are saying name length here. So basically I'm supposed to be printing them. Let's say first name plus last name is 7 characters. So that first, then 8 characters, then 9 characters, then 12 characters. Also not 12 will not be printed, then 11 characters. So in terms of the total length of first name plus last name. So I'll focus upon this as of now, just that's it. So I'll write order by what? Order by, so here this becomes confusing. So length FN plus length LN. Okay, so I've done this. If 2 or more customers have the same combined name length. Okay, so now they are saying, let's say if there are 2 people whose both of their name length is 10 and 10. So what do you need to do? Right? Sort the result in lexicographical order of full name, first name plus last name without a space between, ignoring the case. If 2 or more customers have the same full name, last name, sort the result by ID ascending. Okay. So after this, let's focus upon, so there are 2 things. Let's focus upon the first thing. Sort the result in lexicographical orders of first name plus last name without spaces in between. Difficult. It's a little difficult. So first thing is, without space in between, I see. So I need to say that, okay, obviously I'm still at order by as of now. I'm still at order by. I'm not doing anything. I need to give my order by a second parameter. So obviously the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm looking at this is concat. Now concat what? Concat first name and last name. So I'll write concat FN, LN. So basically, first of all, it will try to order it by this component, and then they've said ascending order. So I have no need to specifically write ASC here after it, because by default it takes ascending. And here also they are saying ascending, but they've given a special parameter which is something that I've taken care of by this. Now also I don't need to write because they are still saying in ascending. Now what? Now the third case. if two or more customers have the same full name, obviously if let's say Atulya Kaushik and somebody else also has Atulya Kaushik, and somehow Atulya Kaushik is less than 12, right? So in that case, first of all, their length will be same, even so this would be same, even this would be same. So how do you sort them? So then they are saying sort the result by ID in ascending. So I need to give a special parameter again. So I'll write, need to give a third parameter and I'll write ID. I could have also mentioned ASC after it, ASC after it, and ASC after it. However, since by default it takes ascending, so I don't specifically need to write it. Now, to be honest, I know that 90% of you will not have still would have had been confused on this particular part mostly. Why? Because you don't know SQL properly. And to be honest, you would have understood 90% of whatever I've explained, but you would, let's say if I didn't tell you the answer and I know 90% of you just moved ahead. You did not even try to solve this question on your own, which is very stupid. You should have paused the video back then, because you will never know that do you know SQL at the level of what's going to be asked in the Hacker Rank exam of Cognizant GENC next exam, right? So you need to make sure of that. Now, anyways, so this is the solution for it. To be honest, I've changed the question a little bit. It was even more complicated. Everything I've kept ascending, it was not like that. The question was even more difficult. I've tweaked the question to make it simpler for the YouTube video, because obviously we'll be doing that in our Prime Video course of Cognizant as well. That is where I'll be focusing upon the more difficult part, because I didn't want to demotivate you in terms of making this complex question even more complicated, which it was. So I removed some minor things here. Also, you have to understand, they're giving you approximately 10 to 15 minutes per SQL question, right? So in that case, the SQL question is going to be very difficult. And sometimes what I've seen is, so for example, this is one query. There's another question which focuses on this part. So this is one query, it gives the result, and then inside it, and it is as long as this one is. And inside that, there's another query that is nested, and that is also as long as this is. You need to know SQL if you want to go ahead to the next round of Cognizant, right? Now, I've written this here for all of you so that you can understand it really better, because when I was solving it, maybe my writing was not clear. So basically, this would be the answer for it. And I know that there's going to be a better approach. I guess if somebody solves the question with a better approach that I had, and because there are multiple ways to solve this question, right? We'll give them the Prime Video course completely free, right? Obviously, it could be any other thing, and it could be also, this one as well. So make sure that you're commenting something. Okay. Now, there's another question. So this is not the case study question, but what kind of SQL question can you expect in the MCQ part of the exam? That is section 1. Wanted to focus upon that. Obviously, first of all, you need to know DBMS. And DBMS has almost very little relation to SQL. So if you know SQL, no, you need to know DBMS. DBMS is like basically you code in C, but you should also know the theoretical part of C, right? So DBMS is the theoretical part of SQL. So 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, BCNF, convert, checking if it's 2NF, 3NF, weak entity, strong entity. So SQL questions could be also upon those. But in this video, I wanted to focus upon the MCQ questions on SQL. So this could be one of the questions, right? To be honest, it's very easy if you know SQL. I want you to comment down the answer of which one would be A. So this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D, within a proper explanation of why it is like that and why other options not like that. So probably this could also win you the Prime Video course completely free, right? So basically these kind of questions you can expect. Now, how do you prepare for it? Now, first of all, let me just go back. So first of all, you can find all the previous year questions on prepinstar.com. So that's completely free, right? But to be honest, if you look at the part of Cognizant, right? So you have easy question, medium question. Most of the people will be able to solve it, but this will not get you to the next round. I promise you, if you just solve these two questions, you'll not go to the next round. You need to solve at least 2 out of these 4 questions. At least these 2. At least. And then also you may not get selected. But I'll say out of this 6, if you solve 4, maybe. Because you have to also understand there are 2 to 3 lakh people who are going to give exam, right? And it's not Cognizant. It's Cognizant GENC next. So the number of hiring would be 3 to 4,000. Not 20, 25, 30,000, right? So basically, and a lot of non-CSIT people ask me, how do I go about it? I don't, so obviously they are going to ask you competitive coding also. And wherein out of these 50 marks, let's say even if you solve the question perfectly with all the test cases, you may still end up getting 30 marks only because your code is not optimized, because there are hidden test cases that you will never be able to see and which will never run. Why? Because, and competitive programmers would know this, you can't go beyond 10 to the power of 8 times running of things. And then there will be test cases which will go beyond 10 to the power of 8, which is why an ON square way of solving this, any particular competitive programming question, if you solve in ON square way, maybe 3 test cases out of 9 will pass. Which is why competitive programming focuses on reducing the time complexity to probably n log n. So you need to know competitive programming with dynamic programming, greedy, divide and conquer, sorting mechanism, backtracking, so on and so forth, right? So how do you go about it? So I'll explain you the both things, right? So if you are not at all a good competitive programmer, how do you go about it? And if you are a good competitive programmer, so obviously not just Cognizant will come, Cognizant will go. You need to prepare for other companies also. And you can't be like, okay, I have just 2 months. To be honest, don't ever think like this. You have 1 year for placements. Off-campus companies will end in, let's say, December or November, but off-campus will start in January to beyond. So maybe whenever Cognizant is having its off-campus, or JP Morgan or Amazon, Cisco, by then if you know competitive programming or DSA, you may end up getting that offer, right? So how do you go about it? So which is why, and I'll start from very basic. So people who don't know coding, you are very bad at coding. Basically, we have a course called as basic coding, which will create the basic foundational coding, the basic codes, it starts from addition of 2 numbers to probably a difficulty level of, let's say, finding the second largest in an array. Basic coding. There are approximately 100 such codes here. Then the next part is intermediate coding. Intermediate coding, let's say the second largest in an array to, let's say, a more difficult question related to 2D or 3D matrices. So it will take you to a level wherein kind of, if you complete these 2, basically you are good to go for service-based companies like Cognizant and TCS and Accenture and Wipro, so on and so forth. Not their digital or Gen Z roles, right? Then once you do this, we always suggest you to go ahead with data structures, and which is already included in your Prep Insta Prime. And once you do this, then we suggest you to go ahead with competitive programming. So basically, this is the reason why we launched Prep Insta Prime. Yes, obviously, we have an individual course for Cognizant as well, right? So let's say I just scroll down, I'll just show you. We have a Cognizant GENC course as well. We have a separate course. I'm really sorry. We have a separate course for Cognizant as well. But what so happens is, I've seen multiple YouTube channels and websites selling one course, TCS. You will get placed in TCS or maybe not get placed in TCS. In both of the scenario, you will still be sitting for other companies, right? So let's say if you don't get placed in TCS, then after that TCS course is useless. And if you get placed in TCS, you will still be sitting in other companies because TCS will pay you 3.5 lakhs. You will want 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 4.5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs. If you're not aiming for that, and if you're just satisfied with just one, God help you, you're basically an underachiever. You have to always aspire for more. So basically, that is what we wanted to solve with Prep Insta Prime. Basically, you will always have access to everything that you need for placement preparation. May it be C, C++, Java, Python. May it be basic coding, intermediate coding, competitive coding, data structures. May it be quants, logical, verbal data interpretation. We have daily live classes of about 7 to 8 hours every day, apart from these self-paced courses. And that's absolutely free for everybody. We have platforms like Amazon, HackerRank, Metal, Cisco, so on and so forth. We have these company-based courses, service-based, product-based, both of them. We have puzzles, because in HR interviews, they will ask you puzzles, right? We have projects. Let's say if you want to create projects and you do not have good project, we have projects for you as well, which you can do with almost very limited amount of coding language. We have CVS subjects, operating system, SDLC, so on and so forth. We have pseudocode, interview experience of so many companies. So basically it's like Netflix, everything that you need for your placement preparation under one subscription. No, forget buying multiple courses again and again. This is what we wanted to change, because all the people are greedy for money, and then they are like, buy TCS course now then buy Cognizant course, then buy ZS Associates course. It's a little stupid that way. If you need placement, right, you need a lot of things. We are giving you everything on that. So basically there's a Cognizant course also. The syllabus of that particular course also we'll put in the description of the video. I highly recommend you to go ahead with Prep Insta Prime. I particularly think it's the best thing that you can do. If you're a little undecided, we'll also play a short trailer for you after the video so that you can understand the quality of what is being provided with Prep Insta Prime. There's daily live classes, access to all the courses, and the best part is we have no questions asked, 100% refund policy. Nobody has that. So let's say if you join Prime and get your subscription and you don't like it, just get your money back. 100% money back. Because we believe in quality education. We don't want to take your money if you don't feel that we deserve your money. So that's pretty much about it. Again, make sure that you follow us on all the social media channels, and to get to know about all of these off-campus drives. All the really best for your placement preparation. The top 3 comments get this. We are going to upload a lot of videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure that you do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. All the best.